I'm a massive Arsenal fan. The building control application had just landed in the building control team, and I was working in the actual team that was in the area that the Emirates Stadium was being built. So I actually did everything on that stadium, from vetting the plans, looking at the plans, sitting in meetings.
You must have been in heaven.
The role that I applied for was, like I said, trainee building control surveyor. And they also, what they wanted with that role, it was a career graded role. Okay, so they wanted the individual who was successful, which was me, to go through the career graded role and get yourself professionally qualified as a professional surveyor, qualified surveyor. So there's one thing in our industry about having the degrees and everything like that. Then there's also having your professional qualifications with the RICS. I'm sure you might saw Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors and various other professional bodies. Yeah. So they had a career path set in place for me. That was fortunate for me to follow to get professionally qualified. So what that involved was actually going back to university on a day release. Yep. Because I had a civil engineering degree. Remember, I'm going for a building control surveying role. So when we looked into it, and I was there, they said, well, your civil engineering degree, there was units that I was missing in my civil engineering degree in order for me to get professionally qualified. So I had to go back to uni, and it was Westminster University, on a day release for 3 years, doing a building control surveying degree. Right. Yeah, because the civil engineering degree is not correct to get me professionally qualified. So I went back to university, but this time I'm going 1 day a week, and I'm working 4 days a week. So I'm being paid. Yeah.
And they paid for your uni.
They paid for everything. They paid for my books. They paid for my lunch. They paid for my travel. Everything. Right. Everything was paid for by them, and they also gave me the support when I needed it. You know, if I needed to work on certain things, or if I needed information or advice or whatever, they gave it to me. They really gave me that support and encouraged me through to the end to finish it. So I ended up finishing my building control surveying degree. So when I finished that degree, I've now got 2 degrees.
Wow. Someone who's quote unquote didn't do the academic route, you now have 2 degrees.
I've got 2 degrees. I've got the civil engineering one that I got from Kingston, and then I've got the building control surveying degree. So also a question, so when that scheme, how many people were with you that they were bringing through? At that time, if I look back, there would have been, because they mixed us all up with various other courses, but there would have been there's a few of them I'm still in contact with. I think doing the building control surveying degree at that time, there would have been about 10, 15 of us at that time.
So it's sort of a lot of people and that's the local council putting them through.
That's all local authority putting each individual of their teams through.
So you got 2 degrees now. So obviously, mum and dad, everyone else must be super proud now. Yeah. So you double. Wow. So you now got 2 degrees. You're now certified to be a quantity.
Well, I've got the degree I've got a building control surveying degree. Mm-hmm. But these Hertsmere, where I was working at the time, they were still pushing me a bit further. Right. Saying, now you've got your degree, we want you to get professionally qualified.
And so for some people that are watching that want to get into that, so why would you need it?
So if you notice at the beginning of the interview, I said I'm a chartered surveyor. Right. To get your chartership, you need to be a professional. You need to be a member of one of the professional bodies, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. Yep. There's a Chartered Association of Building Engineers. Those are the 2 main ones. Yep. Okay. There's other ones, Chartered Institute of Building. Mm-hmm. There's various professional bodies out there that to get yourself chartered with them and become a full member. Mm-hmm. My Hertsmere at the time was saying to me, okay, you've got your building control surveying degree, well done. We now want you to get chartered. We want you to become a member of one of these professional bodies, which involved a little bit doing a diary and all sorts of stuff, because they would ask for certain things, the bodies themselves, an application. So I was doing like a diary and there was all sorts of competencies I had to follow through to get myself chartered.
Got you.
So that was another, probably after my building control surveying degree, I would say that took me another year and a bit to get myself chartered.
Right.
And again, they were encouraging me all the way to get myself chartered.
And why do you need it?
Very, very important. It's all about professional competence. Once you're in our industry, if you're chartered as a chartered surveyor or a member of any of these, a full member of any of these these professional organisations, if you're chartered, people respect you.
Right.
You just earn that bit more respect within the industry.
So they know you're not a cowboy.
They know you're not a cowboy. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I know it all, but once you get yourself chartered, almost like a chartered accountant, for example, something like that. Yeah, you get to that level where the respect is there.
Right.
And obviously, when you're writing your letters, you've got the letters after your name. It just gives you that little bit
more credibility.
Right. Gives you that little more credibility. So I got myself
all of it
chartered with at the time it was with it's still there with the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. I mean, that's one of the hardest ones to get into, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. So I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I do hope they go for it, but RICS as we know it it's one of the hardest ones to get into as a member, to become a full member of that organisation. So I managed to get myself in there. I remember when I did the because you do a like I said, you do a diary, you do a test of competence, and then you do an interview to go in. And I failed the first time round. I didn't get in.
Because of the interview or the other stuff?
When I did the interview, they said that my everything was good, but they said my fire safety knowledge was lacking.
Okay.
I lacked in a certain area, they said. So they not failed, they referred me.
Right. So you had to do it again.
So I had to do it again. But again, the support that I had from Hartmere, my worker, so they said, okay, Tom, you failed. Because for them, me not getting through or being referred was for them it reflected on them that they haven't done things properly. They haven't prepared me correctly. So it hurt them as well as it hurt me.
Yeah.
But they just said, no, we will get you through this. We will get you through this. And they encouraged me to go again immediately, straight afterwards.
Right.
Go again and do it again. And they made me work on the areas where I was told I'm weak in these areas. They helped me work on it, sent me on courses and all sorts of stuff, and I got through the second time. So, because of the way that they have brought me into the industry and work in that way, that's what's been installed in me.
Yeah.
In bringing people through, because I was given the opportunity. Yeah, I was given the opportunity.
And that's what it was, isn't it?
It was an opportunity. it was an opportunity. Like I said, thank God I got the first application, first job, got in, and they were just giving me the opportunity and the support. So for me now, it's all about giving others that opportunity and support as well. And where I am now, I've got two, not trainees now, they're apprentices going through the system. And everywhere I've worked at a few different authorities. I've always made sure that apprentices come through and bring them through, which is why and again, it's just something I've been used to now, and it's important.
Yeah, 100%. So you've now been with Hartmere.
Well, I've worked at Hartmere. I worked at, which is where I've effectively got where I got my.
So you got your 2 degrees, your chartership,
all there at Hartmere.
And how many years is that? 4 years were you there?
Let's just put that all together as 6 or 7 years in total. If you put it all together, let's include the degrees as well that I've been doing as well. So
yeah.
I've worked at Hart, then I moved over to working for London Borough of Harrow, which is next to.
What was the role there?
And then I just basically moved myself from being a trainee to an assistant building control surveyor. I was just going through
up the ladder.
Up the ladder. I was climbing up the ladder, going from trainee building control surveyor to Harrow as an assistant building control surveyor. I went back to Hartmere after Harrow, because they poached me back. So Harrow,
a step up back
again. It was another step up. Then I left Hertsmere, regrettably again. I went to Islington. I worked at Islington.
Okay.
And by the time I got to Islington, I was now a building control surveyor.
Right.
So I've gone from trainee to assistant to now building control surveyor.
Got it.
At Islington. I'll tell you a bit more about Islington in a bit more. So I worked at Islington for a number of years. And then I went to Hillingdon.
Right, got you.
Which is where I am now. And I went to Hillingdon I came there as a principal building control surveyor. And that's how I then, from principal, I've been at Hillingdon now for 16 years.
Right.
So went from principal to where I am now as managing.
So going from those not smaller boroughs, but to Islington must have been a culture shock because it must be much busier.
Oh yeah. So you're going from what was Hertsmere, Harrow, which were outer London boroughs, to Islington, which is an inner London borough. And one of the things that I talk about quite a lot when I do interviews and I meet with people and I go and do presentations and I talk about my career journey, Islington for me was a fantastic experience because you're dealing with inner London, you're dealing with, it's a small borough, but so much going on in that borough. It's huge stuff going on in the borough. And I'm a massive Arsenal fan. Yeah, huge Arsenal fan. Some may say, oh, boo-boo. But at the time when I joined, they were the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah, that's right, because that's when you would have joined, before
it was built. The building control application had just landed in the building control team. And I was working in the actual team that was in the area that the Emirates Stadium was being built. So I actually did, along with my senior managers at the time, I did everything on that stadium, from vetting the plans, looking at the plans, sitting in meetings.
You must have been in heaven.
For me, that's one of the best projects I've done. It's just as a supporter of the club.
Yeah. And
you're now watching your club being built, and you're sitting in meetings. You've got stadium managers there. At one meeting, Arsene Wenger was there. And all these, around the table discussing, fire brigade, police, all discussing all sorts of stuff to do with the stadium and crowd control. So I saw it from the plans coming in and checking the plans to it being built and actually it being completed. So there's no parts of that stadium I've not been in, in terms of round in the back.
Even conceptually in your mind, even before it actually lands,
I've done it. I've been it. I've seen it. So that's one of the. I've got pictures of it being built, and I was going up on. There's a flat block of flats nearby, and I was taking pictures of it being built from a high level. So for me, working in Islington and having that experience, because not many London boroughs anyway have stadiums built. We've had the recent Tottenham Hotspur stadium.
Yeah, the Stratford one.
Then the Stratford,
the
Olympics one. That we've had that one. We've had Tottenham Hotspur built recently, but there's not many, and to get that opportunity to work on a football stadium
of your club,
let's say that as well, because there's all sorts of complexities that you've got to look into as a surveyor, was a fantastic experience. So yeah, working in Islington was a definite culture shock, but now I'm back in outer London in Hillingdon, which is sort of bit more of your extensions, loft conversion and that sort of stuff.
So would you say that's kind of one of your like, in terms of, obviously I know in terms of the level of your career, that wasn't the highest.
No.
But then in terms of the learning curve from, doing all these exams, studying, now the practical, was there more of the, you could apply the stuff that you would now?
Absolutely.
More than you did in the other places?
More than I did, yeah, because you see a lot of that stuff that you're saying that I was learning in my courses that you think, it actually came. You were seeing it in that particular project because it had everything in there. It's a stadium, so you've got everything in there. That project really, really opened my eyes, and it really did sort of join all the dots for things that I've been learning in my courses. So yeah, it's one of the highlights of my career. But yeah, it's just an amazing experience to be involved. As I said, as well as being a supporter of the club, it's just something that I'm so proud of.
No, excellent. And then You now go to Hillingdon.
Yep.
As what was your first role?
I went there as a principal surveyor. So a principal surveyor is basically you is one below the manager.
Okay.
Effectively, is one below the building control
And how long
manager.
did it take you to become?
So the principal role, the principal role was about. I was a principal for about 3 or 4 years there, and then then my predecessor, the manager, he left, and effectively they just pushed me into that position. It was pretty much like that. It was like he went, and then they just said, right, here you go, Tony. They called me Tony there. Right, you deal with it. You got to pick it up and run with it. But I was ready. I was ready. I mean, to be honest, I was doing even though I was the principal, there was things that I was doing which was pretty much managerial anyway. So I was ready. So when he left, I got that role, and the rest is history. I'm still there today.
So from you, when did it go from? Because obviously you have the mindset of come from African home, get your degree, get a good job, buy a house, all that good stuff. When does it move from you've ticked everyone's boxes and now it's more about you, career fulfillment, making an impact? When did that transition happen?
That's a really, really, really fantastic question. Forward thinking.